We sold a computer. Yep, you heard that right. We finally start making money. If you're new here, then welcome. This is flipping PCs until I buy a house. I set myself a goal to save up at least $15,000 from flipping computers, and I'm going to use that money to put a down payment towards a house. Now, in the last episode, we had a really slow period with 0 sales. That unfortunately followed us into this episode, but as you heard in the intro, we turned that around and we start making some money. And we even build a couple more computers to make us some more money. Stick around so you don't miss anything, and let's get right into it. Right now, we're starting at my main computer, and the reason being, we're about to upgrade it and then harvest some of the older parts and flip them for profit. In the last episode, I had asked you guys for help on what to do with this 3090, and everyone was telling me to go with option 2, and option 2 is swap it into my computer and swap out my RTX 3080. Let me show you a big reason why I'm doing that. Right now I'm hooked up to my MacBook. If you look at my storage right there, I only have 4.5 gigabytes left. So yeah, today we're saying bye-bye to the Mac and back to the PC. I'm running DDU to remove all the old drivers. Out with the chunky 3080. This thing is like pretty beefy too. And now to install the RTX 3090. Would you look at this, we're getting an upgrade and we're using less power. That 3080 required triple 8-pin PCIe. This is only taking a double. And I'm also going to be installing my old drives back in this computer. We have a 1TB Crucial SATA SSD, and then we have a 2TB Seagate Barracuda hard drive. All right, moment of truth, please still work. Okay, it turns on first try. Ooh, that white RTX logo looks really clean with the white RGBs. Please work. I think so, come on. Hey, let's go. Now let's get to work on this and see if we can flip a gaming PC with an RTX 3080. But first, I want to look at this local deal that I bought a few days ago. I actually ended up getting it shipped, so it's not local anymore, but that's how bad my local market is. This guy was about 2 hours away from me, and he's the one who insisted on shipping, and he even let me pay half of it and wait to pay the other half when I receive it. Well, I was happy about this deal, but as I unboxed it, I took a look at the little sticker on here and I realized it says a GTX 1650, and what I thought I was buying was a GTX 1660. Well, and that's because the guy said it was a GTX 1660 on the ad, but even after looking at the pictures on Facebook, zooming in, it's a 1650. In total, I paid 50 bucks for this, no shipping costs. The seller actually ate the $30 shipping charge that it took to get here. So, I really wish it was a 1660 though. Now back to this 3080 build. Let's grab the CPU, my old Ryzen 9 5900X. This processor was a beast when I had it. It's 12 cores and 24 threads, but it does run a little bit hot. For the motherboard, I'm using my old Gigabyte B550M Aorus Pro. This will be great, but unfortunately I paid 100 bucks for it. Now, as I said, this Ryzen 9 5900X, it does use a lot of power, so it runs a bit hot. It has a TDP of 105 watts, so to cool it, we'll either need an AIO or an air cooler. I have an AIO in storage that I could use, or I can use this air cooler from a PC company that's gone but not forgotten. And now it's time to test them out. Now, honestly, I'm unsure if this CPU cooler will even cool the Ryzen 9, but that's why we're testing. But I did almost forget to tell you guys about the SSD. I have this 2TB Samsung NVMe SSD that I bought for $80 a long time ago, and I finally get to use it. These parts are all ready to be turned on and see if it works, but since we're right in the middle of a PC build, you know what time it is. Hashtag PFQ. The first question I'm going to be answering is from Autonaut2751. He said, I think I saw a fingerboard on your desk. Do you fingerboard? Yeah, I actually do. It's something I picked up as a kid and I still do it occasionally. It's pretty fun. That question was a little short, so let's answer another one from Overall Bell 1758. Said, how can we donate parts? Do you have a PO box we can ship to? Yes, I do. I actually moved to California. I got a new one and it's in all of the descriptions in all of my videos. But now let's just see if this thing works. We need to plug in the power supply, flip the power switch, grab the camera to show you. Come on, give us a post. That EVGA GPU looks, amazing. Hey, now to install Windows and start testing. Going with Windows 10 Pro right now, and then I'm going to update it to 11 for free. I'm starting the testing in Cinebench 2024. I'm gonna run the CPU test on the multi-core. Let's go ahead and launch up hardware info so we can check the temperatures on this cooler. Well, not just the cooler, but on the CPU. Well guys, I am pretty surprised. It's been running for maybe at least like 2 minutes, and here are the average temperatures. Right now, first I would like to know, what do you guys look at in hardware info? For the CPU, do you look at the CPU idle, CPU die? You know, what do you really look at, or the core temperatures? But here are the average temperatures here on the right hand side, and everything is looking really good. Here's the current temperatures highlighted in orange. Okay, now for the GPU, let's fire this bad boy up. I just clicked start on the benchmark and the temperatures are looking really good. Here's the GPU temp. Like I said, the current are highlighted in the left right there, 65 degrees. On the memory, it's about 80 degrees, and on the hotspot, it's saying 78. These temperatures are really good. In my personal PC, they would instantly go above like 82 degrees like that at a snap of a finger. The scores are looking really good in Cinebench 2024, but also back to the temperatures, this is open air, so of course they're gonna be better. We'll have to wait until we actually get it in the case and fully test it out once again. So here's the case I'm going to use, and the RAM is somewhere up there, and I'm gonna take this Cooler Master case because I actually need it for a future project. Quick test fit on this RTX 3080. I know it'll fit in the case, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a tight squeeze, especially when we get these streamer cables in here. We only have about like an inch of clearance from the power supply basement to the bottom of the GPU. I'm deciding to take the whole build apart. I was about to do my testing, I was putting on the glass, and I noticed the cables, since they were being pushed up on the glass, it was causing the GPU to like bend like that. And I just don't want to ship this expensive a computer, how heavy it is and how compact it is with all like the packing material I would put in there. It would probably cause damages. So yeah, I'm gonna take it apart and we're gonna put it in a bigger case. The build is finally done, and honestly it all worked out. I'm happy we did the case swap. It looks way better in this new case, especially after syncing up all the RGB with Signal RGB. I even installed the software for the CPU cooler, so now it's showing off the temperatures. And then I updated the BIOS to the recent version. It was 2 years old, and I enabled the XMP on the RAM to get it running at 3600 megahertz. And this thing runs great in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 in the in-game benchmarking tool with 1080p extreme settings, no resolution scaling or DLSS, we averaged 102 FPS. And in Cyberpunk at 1080p with high settings, with ray tracing at medium and no resolution scaling or DLSS again, we averaged 92 FPS. And then of course I did all that other stress testing like the Prime 95, Furmark, and a Heaven benchmark. I already got this thing listed for sale, but honestly, my total cost for this thing, it's quite saddening. It's over $1,500. I'm not even gonna make any profit on this thing just because how much the parts cost way back then. Like the 3080 itself was $600. Oh, well, at least it's listed and it looks good. But now this makes it my 5th computer that's on my Jawa page, and none of them are selling. And I have another computer right here that I'm posting a video about on Sunday. It has a Ryzen 5 and an RX 5700 XT. This thing performs pretty good, but the GPU in here reaches 90C even after repasting it. So I'm just gonna sell the GPU separately because I don't want to sell a computer where the GPU is getting that hot. Out with the old and then in with the new. The graphics card is right here. I bought this on eBay maybe like a couple weeks ago. It's an OEM GTX 1080 and it was around like $80. But I will be running DDU to remove all the old drivers and doing more testing on it. And I'm gonna have to redo these cable extensions. And this thing is running pretty quietly. I don't even hear the GPU like ramping up at all. And I'm pretty surprised because it is a blower fan model and usually those run pretty loud. I'm gonna get some new pictures of this thing, and good news, this PC will actually make us profit unlike that 3081, because since we swapped out the RX 5700 XT, our price is now cheaper, right around $370. So we might make like 150 bucks if we're lucky. And as far as this RX 5700 XT goes, I paid $141 for it sometime last year in December. I'm just going to list this thing on eBay with free shipping, 140 bucks free shipping as is. I'm not taking any returns because, as I said, it likes to get hot, but it still works. We sold a computer. Here's the computer that sold. It's a pretty good looking build. I think I built it last episode. It's rocking Ryzen 7 2700X, RTX 2070 Super, and 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm just testing it one last time in Black Ops 6 just before I pack it up. But guys, I have really good news. I think we're selling another computer, and this one will be locally. Now, I did accidentally shoot myself in the foot and accept a lower offer, but hey, a sell is a sell, especially since this is only my first sell of the whole month. Today is October 27th. And it is the first sale of the whole month. That's the guy that actually messaged me. But yeah, we might be selling another one. So I'm gonna hurry up, test this out, pack it up, and then I'll get the other computer and show you. And here's that other computer. You might see the specs right there on the box. The specs on this are Ryzen 5 3600, RTX 3060 Ti, 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. I built it in the last episode. The total cost is pretty good. But let's get a video to show the buyer that it's working, because I'm not letting him come to my new residence. The guy's on his way. I just got done doing final testing on it. Here's some things I'm including with the PC. A little USB wireless Wi-Fi adapter, and then a power cord. And of course, the stuff that came with the computer, I'm giving him all the extra screws. I trust you, man. Yeah, okay, well here's the power cord. This is a little USB Wi-Fi adapter if you're not gonna use Ethernet. And these are just the extra screws that came with the tower, like I was saying.
All right, and then here's 700, you can count it. Cool.
Man, the wind's gonna take it away. There, it's all there, man.
All right, cool, man.
What was your name?
Harry.
Harry?
Yep.
Elijah, just message me if you have any questions, man, and I'll reach out back as fast as I can, alrighty?
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. You have a good day. Let's go, baby. We are back in the car. We got 700 cold cash. I'm super happy we finally got a local sale, and rate the new camera setup in the car. I think it's way better than my iPhone when we're in the car. Now we have good quality and good audio throughout the whole video. But anyways, I still have to double box that other computer, and then I'll get it shipped tomorrow because today is Sunday, so the post office is closed. So tomorrow we will talk about the profit on both of these computers. Computer has been dropped off, and I also picked up a ton of packages. I also have one that I have to go pay for because it came from overseas. But anyways, we'll save that for another time because right now it's profit time. The profit on the one I just dropped off is honestly pretty good. I can't remember the exact build cost, but I had a Ryzen 7 2700X, 16 gigabytes of RAM, an RTX 2070 Super. Is sold on Jawa, And even after the fees, we still made 200 bucks in profit. So that's really good, especially with the online fees. And then the one that sold yesterday locally, like I said, I did shoot myself in the foot and take a lower offer, but we still profited around $150. And especially right now, since it's pretty slow, I'm gonna take any sales that I can get. Playing Monopoly, and I just sold another computer. Here's that other computer that sold. That's not a very good view. That's a little better. So I built this computer in a recent video for Black Ops 6. It's a really simple, minimal looking build. No RGB, it's a really sleek black case, and it's rocking a Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and an RTX 3060. The RAM is actually 32 gigabytes, then there's also a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, and the case is this Okinos new Cypress 7. Now my build cost on this thing was pretty good, which makes the profit even better. So everyone go and drop a W profit in the comments, baby. Now the case was free, which definitely helps with the profit, but either way, it would have been decent. I'm just gonna reset it, and we'll pack it up and get it shipped off. I just got back from dropping off that computer at the post office, and honestly, I'm really excited because this month has been so slow. I went from selling 0 computers to selling 3 in 3 days. Now that's really cool. If I can give any of you guys watching one big piece of advice, it's this. Don't stop building, because that's when you're gonna stop making money. You don't stop making money when nothing's selling. You stop making money when you stop working. So if you have the money to buy a lot of inventory and just keep building computers, that's what I'd recommend to you. Just keep building, have at least 4 listed, and they'll just sell. You just gotta have patience. As you see behind me in all of my videos, and right now, my inventory is slowly taking up my whole office, so let's build another computer. This build is going to be a case swap, and I'm going to start with this computer here. This is a very simple build. I actually bought this a long time ago. I bought 2 of them for the same price, $75 each. Now I've already harvested some parts from it, like the power supply here, but it still has some really good value it can offer us. Under this stock AMD cooler is a Ryzen 3. The processor isn't any good, but the motherboard is on the AM4 platform, so we're just gonna throw a Ryzen 5 in there. It also has a GT 1030, we'll swap that out. 8 gigabytes of DDR4, we'll swap that out. We even get a storage drive. I'm pretty sure this is like a 480 gigabyte SSD. As I said, I already used the power supply, and I subtracted $25 when I did, which makes my total cost for this thing only $50, but I won't be using that Ryzen 3 or the GT 1030 or that 8 gigabyte stick of RAM, so that'll be extra cost deducted from this thing. Let's take it apart and rebuild it. Well, I got what I needed from that computer, which is this Gigabyte GA A320 motherboard. It is a pretty basic board, but like I said, it is on the AM4 platform, and at least we still have 2 RAM slots, 1 M.2 slot, and we have about 6 USB ports and the I/O shield. So I'd say this is gonna make a great little budget build. But now let's grab the parts from my inventory to get this build going. I'll grab the CPU. Little Ryzen 5 2600. This is our RAM kit. It's 2x8 gigabytes for a total of 16 gigs, clocked at 3200 megahertz. Now this is more of a budget build, so I'm not going to use a 1 terabyte SSD. I'm going with one of these 512 gigabyte M.2s. I think there's about 3 in this little bag. And the most exciting part for this build is the graphics card, and it's this EVGA little Frankenstein GPU. It says it's a GTX 1070 Ti right here, but as you can see right here, it also says a GTX 1080. And then on the other side, it says GeForce GTX nothing. Yeah, the seller that sold me this said it was a GTX 1080, Turns out it's a 1070 Ti, and I actually got a full refund and I didn't even have to send it back. Since we're building another PC, it's time for another hashtag PFQ. This build, I'm choosing a question from @Tablita7288. They said, what are you looking in a house, like how many rooms and etc. That's actually a really good question because, you know, flipping PCs until I buy a house. Want a house with at least 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms as a first time starting house, and then after, you know, maybe sell that house and rent it out. But it is a simple home. I don't want nothing huge. I don't need anything huge. I just want a room for me to lay my head and a room for me to build computers. I'd love to have an office at home or maybe a separate office space, but who knows, because that's all in the future and the future can always change. But that's what I would like for my first home. 3 bed, 2 bath. The build is just about done minus everything else like cable management, installing Windows, and testing it out. Let's go and see if it even works. Everything's plugged in. Click the power cord. Okay, there's the RGBs. Hey, first try, baby, let's go. I started the testing with some Prime 95 and a FurMark stress test for the CPU and GPU, and I've been monitoring the temps and hardware info. I also want to test a couple games, but so far everything is running really good. Of course, I ended up testing Fortnite on this computer. With budget PCs, my target audience is going to be people that play Fortnite, so I like to include the FPS for this game. This computer handled it pretty good. I tested it at 1080p with DirectX 12. I had TAA enabled, and I used the medium preset, and we averaged 134 FPS with 1% low of 76. For a newer and harder to run game, I just loaded up Black Ops 6. I used the in-game benchmarking tool at 1080p with AMD FSR 3.0 enabled, and I used a mix of normal to low settings, and with that, we averaged 82 FPS with 1% low of 56. And I always test Cyberpunk. On this computer, it ran it at 1080p with the medium preset, and we averaged 84 FPS. That's really good for a AAA title. Now it is actually the next morning and I'm finally done with working on this computer. I did all the cable management, and as you can probably see, I even decided to vinyl wrap the power supply because this Samma Z4 case, it does have a cutout, so now it looks a lot better with the power supply being white. And if you notice inside the case, it looks really clean. I actually stole this little detail or little thing to add from someone in my Discord server, goes by the name of Joseph. He is a beast, but he likes to put white printer tape behind the motherboard tray kind of cover up the ports, and I decided to give that a try, and it looks really good. It looks awesome. And my total cost for this thing is honestly really good as well. Since we started with that first basic computer, it was $50 without the power supply, and then without all the other parts like the 8GB of RAM, the Ryzen 3 and the GT 1030, the case and the SSD, I'm valuing the motherboard that I used only at $10, and we got the GTX 1070 Ti for free. So this thing only cost me like $190. And if it sells for my asking price, the profit is around $300. And speaking of sales, I actually sold this RX 5700 XT that we listed for sale a little bit ago in this episode. It actually sold twice. The first guy wanted to cancel it on eBay, and the second guy, he sent an offer of 130, and I countered with 135, and he accepted. So I'm gonna pack this up. I have to pay for shipping, but we'll get it shipped out. Zero profit on this thing because it cost me $141. Anyways, a lot happened in this episode. We finally sold some computers after it being a really slow month, and we got a lot more inventory from eBay. If you want to see what's in all of that new inventory, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if you enjoyed this one, go ahead and smash that like, subscribe if you loved it. Go and click here to watch that last episode if you haven't, or you can click here to watch the newest episode when I release it.